1 second. Here. Here. Whoop. All right. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Good, good, good. All right. Well, I hope everybody had a great trading day today, and happy Tuesday, everybody. I hope everybody had a wonderful weekend. We had fun last night. Everybody had a great trading day today, and happy Tuesday, everybody. I hope everybody had a wonderful weekend. We had fun last night. Everybody had a great trading day today, and happy Tuesday, everybody. I hope everybody had a wonderful weekend. We had fun last night. Everybody had a great trading day today, and happy Tuesday, everybody. I hope everybody had a wonderful weekend. All right. So I hope everybody had a wonderful weekend, and we had fun last night with Paul going over some nice charts. Sorry for all the reverb there, but went through some good charts. A couple of them really ended up playing out really well today, like Amazon and that what was that SPRT that Paul really liked last night. So some pretty big moves on those. So really cool stuff. So this week, guys, I want to go through two charts that are on my radar, and really kind of liking the potential for these, one way or the other. And I just want to kind of track these with you guys this week, and we can kind of go through it and see, what some possibilities are, and kind of go from there. So this week we're going to be tracking Roku and Tesla. So Roku has had an epic run up, right? So we're going to be keeping an eye on that one. And Tesla, kind of struggling a little bit. We talked about that last night too. So anyway, guys, before we get started, everything we're going to talk about is for educational purposes only and not investment advice. So please take a moment to review this disclaimer. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Good, good, good. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a look and see where we left off with the market today, and then we're going to take a look at the futures and see what we're up to or down to here this evening, and what might be setting up going into tomorrow. And then we'll take a look at the topic, and then we'll go through questions and chart requests. So let's get started. All right, so SPX, guys, ended up down 8 points here today, but it was a little bit better. It was down like 30-something points, I think, in the lunchtime market update today here on YouTube, and ended up being a pretty big dip buy on this one, right? So they just continue to do what they always do, and just going to plow this thing up, right? So weekly chart, though, we got fresh all-time highs, still kind of looking like a little bit of a choppy movement right here so far. So we'll see how that goes going into this week, but big lower shadow right here off the ADMA on this one, but ended up finishing with a red candle. So we'll see if that turns into a hanging man type candle, right? So a little bit of caution there. So this is kind of what we're looking at here on the Elliott wave count. We're seeing this 1-2 right here, and then we have this impulsive channel up looking like a wave 3, and we broke out of that impulsive channel on Friday, right, which is pretty bullish, right, and then it kind of ran out of steam after tagging all-time highs this morning and pulled back, and then they bought the dip. So my guess at this point right now is that we are possibly working on a subwave 4, and we may see a pullback into this range right here. There's a couple Fibonacci levels that you can look at to kind of track that, right? You've got your 382 down here at about 32.84, 32.85, right? That's off of the lows. You kind of go off of the kind of this wave 2-ish type pullback right here, right? You're kind of you're looking at maybe 43.02. So we may see a little bit of another pullback right here before we get some more upside, right? So we're still assuming that this is bullish till proven otherwise, right? We're over the upper trend lines and all that stuff. So we'll see what type of corrective move we get if that happens. Now, we were looking for some potential bearishness, right? We talked about in the bubble report this morning. When we look at the futures here, these are our levels, and we provide this in our bubble report each morning with a game plan and levels to track, right? And so today was a pretty interesting one. Right? One of the big concerns that we've been tracking right here is all these. Not only the open gap that ended up holding right here, but all these VPOCs below, right? So we've been talking about this in our bubble report for ever since June, right? Since the end of June, since they started showing up, we just got to have VPOC. So in other words, these have not been tested, right? These are points of control that have not been tested yet, and so typically they do get tested, right? And so what we're doing is the market appears to be finding value to the upside. But they're not even testing old value areas, right, to see if they're legitimate or not. So eventually we're going to look to see pullbacks to those. Today's open kind of got us a little bit interested in that on the downside, but there was a lot of strength in big names, right, like Amazon today, Apple, that made it hard for the market to be in complete crash mode, right? And so even though we saw stuff like the IDM, the XLF, where we read today, the VIX was strong, all morning, and then they just ended up buying the dip here off of our signal zone. So it's pretty cool stuff there. We'll see how it goes going into tomorrow. If maybe this is just a retrace. So let's keep an eye out here. So right now, off of the from the highs to the lows, today, it's right off the 786 into that range right there. So we'll see if this is kind of like a wave one. Maybe this is ABC wave two, and we could be one, two, and then we might see a larger wave three down tomorrow. It just all depends. I mean, today really no news or anything like that to kind of to warrant any sort of like big selling. It was just sort of today's price action. We weren't really surprised by it this morning, and of course, as usual, weren't surprised at the dip buy. Right. So we'll see what they do. Of course, they can push to all-time highs again tomorrow, and then we'll see where we go from there. So so good stuff. All right. So again, guys, this week we're going to be tracking Roku and Tesla, and I think it's going to be a fun one, right? Because both of these charts are looking very interesting, right? So and the price action's been very interesting recently. So Roku, as you guys know, this thing's been working, just kind of plowing its way up recently, right? We had this as our trade of the week idea in our group here 2 weeks ago, and then we got some follow through last week. Paul put it on the bullish radar on the Elliott wave count, and really just impressive stuff, right? So one of the big things that I'm looking at here on Roku is this move up, right? And so I'm not saying that it's not going to continue to work its way up, but one of the things that we pointed out is that Roku tends to move up in these kind of these symmetrical moves, right? So we pointed out this wave right here, this wave right here, this wave right here, this wave right here, this wave right here. We're all basically the same size, and we really just want to see kind of how it handles this price action and how it maybe holds the ADMA in this area. Now, if we kind of go here, we have seen some larger moves, right? We have seen this. This is not symmetrical, so you get something like this, and you duplicate that and carry it over here, right? We could still see more upside, right? Like fresh all-time highs are on Roku. So these are a couple of things that I'm looking at, right? So right now we're holding on Roku above the ADMA. I'm not saying it's bullish or bearish right now, but we did have a pretty bearish candle on Friday, right? A continuation down off of this inside day. The only issue with it was no volume, right? So we didn't really get some heavy selling in this one. So we're gonna see. We're gonna see how it holds this ADMA right here. If it ends up breaking down below here, we might start to test a couple levels below. Otherwise, I wouldn't be surprised too if Roku starts to pull back a little bit and maybe even give us a 618 retrace off of this last drop. Right, so we want to see how the price action is around this area too, right off of that 449, 450 area to see how it holds there. Because what Roku likes to do a lot of times is once it pushes up, right, it'll move down a little bit and then move up and then go, right? And so here, right, so it'll move down a little bit, move up, and then go, right? So here it'll move down a little bit, move up, and then go, right, after it's push up. So let's keep an eye on that on Roku this week and see how that goes. And the other one that we're tracking here is Tesla. So I wonder how many people actually type in that TLS. Anyway, so Tesla. What a day today, guys. This was a tough one, right? We talked about this last night, my theory is that Tesla really needed to come out and, really defend their plaid model that caught on fire and melted, right? But you really haven't heard anything about that. And so I think that's starting to weigh on this name a little bit. It's really, to me, has been a big concern, right? I mean, when you release a new vehicle, especially one that's, price tagged $130,000 and, is touted as, one of the top, I think it's like one of the top 15 supercars or fastest, I can't remember what it was, like fastest accelerating cars in the world, right? And then it just catches on fire, right? So that's kind of a big concern, right? And so especially with new models coming out and stuff like that, so a little bit of concern there. The last time they had an issue with there was like a Tesla, an autopilot that wrecked, right? I mean, nobody was in the driver's seat and all that stuff, so they were able to defend that pretty well. This one's going to be interesting to see what they come on. They really haven't done anything yet, so I'm not surprised to see this downside price action. So we were originally thinking that this was working on a triangle, and then on Friday it pushed above that triangle range and basically invalidated it. So if it closed strong above there with increased volume, then I was going to be super duper bullish on this name. But at this point now, we're just kind of tracking to the downside. I didn't have huge volume, but it did fill the gap, right? So this is a very important area for Tesla to hold. If it can hold here, right, maybe it continue to work its way up. Otherwise, we've got this gap down here that might get tested. That's right at the 200-day moving average, right? So we really want to check on this. And we also closed below the ADMA on this one. So the other thing that we're tracking on this too is the potential Elliott wave count on this. And I'm not sure exactly which one of my charts here has the Elliott wave count on it. There we go. So with this, right, we had this original zigzag down. We're back in this corrective channel right here. We've got this 1-2-1-2 type move. And so part of this 1-2 has got this 1-2 A, B, C wave 4, right? And so for this one to hold, right, it basically just has to stay above these levels for it to be a valid wave 4. So, and that actually corresponds right with the gap fill, right? And so this is a very, very big area of interest. You got the 50-day moving average, you got the bottom of the cloud, you got the bottom of the channel, you got the 200-day moving average. So we may see some more downside on Tesla. We want to see how it handles this to see if the wave count is still valid. If it is, and maybe around that time they come out with some news to get things going, then we really might see like a big push on Tesla. But in the meantime, we really want to track those levels. So let's track that this week and see how Roku and Tesla do, and we'll go through it each night and see where we're at. So good stuff there. All right, well, good stuff. Well, at this point now, if anybody's got any questions or chart requests, please feel free to play those in the chat window, and we'll get through as many as we can, try to wrap as early as possible so we can all get a good night's sleep and have another awesome trading day tomorrow. So good stuff. So Shirley sent in a few in via email. So yeah, it's hard to go through the day here today without looking at Amazon. Shirley, hope you're doing well out there. So Amazon, guys, fresh all-time highs, right? So amazing stuff right there. Had a good close on Friday, increased volume, right? Strong move right here. I still had to get above these levels to invalidate any bearish count that we had. And the fact that we gapped above these levels right here, I think was really bullish, right? And then of course we cleared the prior all-time highs and just really turned into a bullish day here today, right? So very, very nice stuff. We will see. Right, here's the levels, right? And this is just one of the strongest names here today. And we'll see if this continues to get any upside momentum. So good stuff there on Amazon. Let's take a look at Netflix. Netflix not as straightforward, right? Because Netflix is Netflix. It used to be fun to trade, but now it's just like, this is how it moves up, right? Red, green, red, red, green, red, green, right? So probably red, red, green, right? We might see like 2 red days and a green day, and then it'll finally fill this gap. So we're getting close to the open gap there from earnings. Don't forget, it did have good earnings, but they had like some bad subscriber stuff. And so it's finally been grinding its way up. Just a brutal name to track on this. So, Docu, again, getting a nice push right here after, talking about that alliance with Amazon. Against the Microsoft empire, right? Evil empire. So we'll see how that goes. Docu, again, fresh highs on this one. So let's see if that gets any more follow. So good stuff there. Win, yep, casinos were weak today. So Win with a big drop under the ADMA with increased volume. It really looks like it wants that 200-day moving average, doesn't it? So keep an eye on that one. And then see how it handles it. Beyond actually pulled back to its 200-day moving average, and now we're going to track it and see if we can get back above this geometric level. If not, look for maybe a pullback even farther to this open gap down here, 50-day moving average, stuff like that, right? So good stuff there. And then Otas sent a few via Twitter. Otas, I'm doing great. Sounds like you're doing well. So really appreciate the positive feedback and enthusiasm. Snap. Looking pretty good, right? So we got to push. We gapped over the inside day and kind of came back into that range right now. It looks like it's still just kind of maybe building energy, but it is holding the ADMA here so far. So definitely want to keep an eye on here this week. We'll look for potential relative strength, especially if the social media names are strong. Zoom had a good day today. Really worked its way over Friday's highs and good volume, and it's really got some clear air on this one if it wants to go. Both this one and Piton had some reasonable strength today. If it really wants to go, maybe it could work its way up to that 440 level over the next couple of weeks. So definitely something to keep an eye on there too. And then Grug, let's take a look at Grug, inside day up on this one, Grow Generation. Good, yeah, nice closing out. Would like to see a little bit more volume on it, but definitely still looking pretty good there, pushing its way up so far. But the rest of the pot sector is just kind of blah today, right? Apple getting super duper close to all-time highs, so we'll see if they have it in it. They definitely pushed it this morning, and then they gave it a sharp pullback and then a little bit of a dip buy. But huge move this morning. I was like, really? Apple and Amazon? Goodness gracious, still going. And then the pullback on Apple was really significant, right? Came right back to the scene of the breakout, and then they just kind of drifted it up into the close. So tricky there on the intraday, but the daily candle looks like they're still trying to push this thing to all-time highs, so we'll see where we go from there. Again, tech had some unusual strength this morning. Again, it's just all about the follow-through. So good stuff there. Bullish bearish trades. What's going on? I'm going to see. Let's take a look at Roblox. Yeah, so Roblox is kind of grinding its way, right? So again, it still looks like we're kind of this 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2 type move right here. I'm just waiting for some impulsive action on it to see if I can get going. The Qs, again, fresh all-time highs today as well. A little bit more of a green candle than the SPX, right? So a couple of these names like Amazon really kind of help things, Netflix, stuff like that. URI increased volume below the ADMA, so a little bit of caution there on the downside. Netflix, of course, has grinded its way up here into the open gap. And then ENPH, let's take a look here. ENPH hanging in there. It looks like it kind of tested the gap there and held the ADMA on that one too. So let's see if these solar names can keep going. Good stuff. And the next, you got ANET on the radar. Let's take a look. ANET, yeah, nice push on that one. Fresh highs. Good close, too, with good volume. Yeah, let's see if we can break over today's highs and get some continuation. TNDM. Yeah, nice push right there. Let's see if we can break over these highs, right? So if we can get some volume over that guy there. It was $100, 101 or something like that, right? Just off of that level, see if we can get any strength on that. DXCM, let's take a look. DXCM, yeah, nice close there too, above the recent highs too, with increased volume. Good stuff there. And ABMD, let's take a look. ABM day with a nice push right there. Kind of a mini little cup and handle-ish type pattern. So see how that holds right there. And OLED, my do not trade list name. I haven't traded this one in years. It's just because the spreads get so funky intraday, right? But inside day on this one, we'll see if we can break out to the upside or not. It's getting kind of a tight range right here to the 50-day and the 80 MA. So some good stuff there. Bob, what's going on? Good to see you. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you're doing great. Let's take a look at Facebook. Yeah, so Facebook, guys, a little bit of caution on this one. Bearish engulfing candle, right? So almost the entire real body engulfing the prior real body, but definitely or the whole body, but the real body is definitely engulfing the prior. So we do have a bearish engulfing candle here after an uptrend. So see how it holds. A breakdown below today's lows on Facebook could lose the 80 MA, right? So a little bit of caution there. Froggy, let's take a look at this one. Let's see how that's behaving here today. Hanging in there, the spinning top here over the 80 MA. Let's see if we break over these highs and kind of keep going. TTD, let's take a look. TTD looking interesting, right? So TTD, a couple things, couple geometric lines here you probably want to monitor. This guy right here, right? And then, of course, it looks like we're kind of flagging a little bit right here, too. So breakout over here, right? We've got a couple major levels, right? So, and then you got the open gap up there. So good stuff. Yeah, doing great. Hope you had a great weekend, too. Good to see you. Thanks so much. And Armando, what's going on? Good to see you. Hope you had a great 4th of July weekend, too. Yeah, let's take a look at Boeing. So the one good thing about Boeing right here is that we held Friday's lows. Right, so let's see if I continue to hold, maybe take the inside day up tomorrow for a little bit of action on that. PayPal, let's take a look. So PayPal, again, still looks like it's working on this bull flag, so let's see if we can get any volume over that. V with a potential doji sandwich, so definitely something to keep an eye on there, see if we can push over that real body. And then Verizon, tricky on this one. I mean, there could be a bear flag in the works right here, but the bear flag is really big compared to the to the pole, right? It's about almost equidistant. So I don't know. I would just kind of just keep an eye on it. It might just be, kind of just getting tight and see if we can get a break out of those geometric levels one way or the other. So good stuff there. DTST, let's take a look. GG, good to see you. Thanks for tuning in. Yeah, big volume on this one today. Big push to the 200-day moving average. I like how it's kind of coming out of that range, but it looks like it kind of filled the gap and kind of put an upper shot of that 200-day. But again, over today's highs might get it going again. AUUD. Wild name right here. This thing's all over the place. I'd just be careful with this one, whatever you're doing. Give us a big spike intraday with some volume, but again, I would want to see it over today's highs with some volume as well. The area, what's going on? Good to see you. Good. Thanks for tuning in. Let's take a look at NEO. So again, NEO, pretty interesting right here, right? So we have this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now the real question is, right, is wave 5 done, or is it, kind of part of a larger wave right now? So one of the things you can do, it had some strength this morning. Right, let's kind of see how it holds. It's kind of holding the 618 area a little bit right now, but I'd really like to see it get out of this line right now, this larger geometric level, right? So let's see how that goes here for NEO. Otherwise, might look for an ABC pullback on that. MT, what's going on? Thanks for tuning in. So what are the key differences between SPY, ES, and SPX? I get asked that a lot. Yeah, they're not all the same info. They're different, right? So the SPX is the actual S&P 500. It's the index itself. Right, so the SPX tells us what the accumulated value of the S&P 500 is. Right, there's no volume on it. It's just basically data points. Right, but it's fun to trade the options on it. Right, so we got that going on. The SPY is a derivative of the SPX, so it's completely different. It's got its own. They're different. They're similar but different. It's got its own supply and demand. It's got its own price action. Right, but it is interrelated to it, so they're very similar. Of course, a little bit cheaper, and you can get cheaper options, a little bit more liquid. Right, and better spreads. And of course, the S&P futures are the futures, right? So the futures are not the SPX, right? They are futures, right? So and what are futures contracts? They are contracts that are tied to SPX, right? So in other words, you're buying futures, you're placing trades based on what you think that the price of the SPX will be, right? And so and are willing to get assigned the SPX, right, based on that, right? So these are the futures of the index, right? So it's completely different, right? Futures are a whole different ball game, right? They're not monitored by the same governing bodies, right? I mean, they're completely different, right? So, but they're interrelated, right? So what do we do? What do we do with that? Well, futures traders are it's one of the highest traded instruments in the world, if not the highest traded instrument in the world. And futures traders have different methods and different levels that they use. So, for instance, in our group, we do a lot of different tools, right? We use geometric levels, we use supply and demand zones, or which we call signal zones, and then we also use market profile levels, right? So these different important levels that we see throughout the day that traders like to trade against, right? And so you can see how well these hold, right? We kind of have an upper shadow here off of this key level right here before bouncing off of our zone right here. So you can see how important that is, right? So futures are a little bit different, but they're kind of interrelated. And if futures are strong, right, typically the SPY is strong, SPX is strong, stuff like that too. They do tend to go hand in hand. There's not too much divergence divergence. But yeah, so it all depends. Depends what you like to trade, right? If you like to trade futures, and trade the futures. If you like to trade SPX options or SPX, trade SPX, right? If you like to trade SPY, right, for a derivative of it because of whatever, you can do that as well. Just there's different reasons to trade different ones. There's tax reasons that you could trade the ES. Same with SPX options too. So there's different info. There's different info on them, right? And different time frames, different data that's overnight. ES tends to give us a little bit more information, right, which we like. SPY still gives us a lot of information, but sometimes there's a gap there between like midnight, stuff like that. And SPX doesn't give us overnight data, right? So it's a lot of different information, but all kind of tied to the same index, right? So pretty cool stuff there too. All right, good. And then the next Grug monthly looks nice. Yeah, it's so far looking pretty strong right here. So Grug. Yeah, weekly looks good. Monthly is just kind of nice and grinding its way up there, all green. Messy, what's going on? Good to see you. AMD. So AMD was one of the ones we talked about last night that was like finally calming down a little bit here. That's what I was saying last night. I was like, can we please get like a little bit more of a wave 4? So we might be working on a little bit bigger wave 4 there on AMD. JD. Got crushed here today, right? So again, we talked about this last night, right? We talked about Baba. I was like, I don't feel too confident about Baba. This Chinese name's a little bit sketchy right now, right? So and then they had DD came out this morning. They were banned and all that stuff. So we're about at the 786 right now. So see how that holds. But again, this sector is getting kind of beat down here. I'm not sure if they're ready to buy the dip on it yet, but I'm sure they will eventually. Just a little bit tricky there on this. So Shop with a nice push here today too. Again, huge move on this one. In tandem with Amazon and the rest of the market right there. That's a really strong break on Shop. Again, similar push at the open, nasty pullback, and then another push into the close. So a big move there on Shopify. So good stuff there. The next you got Pod on the radar. Let's say with PODD. Let's see. Pod kind of handed lots of upper shadows off of these levels right here. So just kind of see if we can get above there. Trip. Let's take a look. Trip, really tight right here, but again, still under the 80 MA, so a little bit of caution on that one. Carg. Good lower shot on that one. Nice little dip buy on that one here today. See if we can kind of get back above the 80 MA and all those other moving averages. See if we can get going on that one. So I'm game, Shop. Nice one on that one too. And then BKNG, let's take a look. Good to see you. Thanks for tuning in. And BKNG with an inside day. So see if we break out of those levels. And Oracle, probably just kind of, let's take a look and see how it's doing right here. Oh, yeah, it got some follow through. Nice. So, again, it was all about this gap fill the other day. We pointed this out on the live stream a couple nights ago. Shirley mentioned this one. So, nice push right here. We're kind of coming up into some major levels right here. We had some consolidation. So, let's see if it goes. If it pushes over today's highs with some volume, maybe it'll keep going again, too. So, good stuff there. Ankit, what's going on? Good to see you. Thanks for tuning in. Yeah, let's take a look at DM. DM still grinding its way down here under the 80 MA. So, a little bit of caution there. Skills. What skills to pay the bills? So skills, let's take a look at down to the 50-day moving average right there. So it's kind of struggling there, but low volume, so it's got that going on. And of course, Facebook, we've got this this bearish engulfing candle, right? So a little bit of caution there. Below today's lows could break the 80 MA and kind of see some more downside. Eric, what's going on? Good to see you. Thanks for tuning in. Just started following on Twitter. Nice. Like Eric cruising through some of your names. XLE. Let's take a look at the XLE. Yeah, it's pretty rough. That's a pretty rough beatdown today. I'm not sure it's out for the count, but it did lose the geometric level and the 50-day moving average. Again, maybe it'll come down a little bit more, test the cloud right here, and then see if it tries to give a little bit of a bounce off of that. Ankit, yeah, my pleasure. Thanks so much. And then the next PD, let's take a look. PD, tried to take the inside down, but just kind of chopping. So again, over the 80, might get it going again. So we got that going on. And then Jingna Solo, what's going on? Good to see you. Let's see what we got. Sophie. So Sophie, below a thin daily cloud right here. So I'd say a little bit of caution on that. I know they tried to rally this one up with some Wall Street bets, Reddit type stuff, and just kind of ran out of steam, right? So, I don't know about diamond handing this one. I'd be a little bit careful, but let's take a look and see what kind of Fibonacci we got going on here. So just under the 618, we are kind of in the golden zone, but again, guys, I'd probably wait to show some strength on this one. Maybe another pushback into the cloud with some volume or something like that. So a little bit of caution there. So cool. So good stuff, guys. So this has been fun. I enjoyed talking about Roku and Tesla. We're going to be going over through those this week and see if we can find any nice setups on those. And anyway, guys, good stuff. I appreciate the questions and the chart requests. And I hope everybody has an awesome evening. We'll see you guys bright and early tomorrow morning here on YouTube for the Good Morning Market Prep video. And we'll see you on Twitter there too. So I hope everybody has a great evening. Stay healthy out there. And remember your risk first and stay safe.